begin. So we begin, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, we begin with trigonometry. Trigonometry is a very, it's the last topic for the content that we need to cover. It all starts with a simple triangle. And a simple triangle, that too a right angled triangle. Now, in a right angled triangle, there is an angle theta, 90. The base is B, P perpendicular, and H hypotenuse. So the angle opposite the theta is perpendicular or opposite. Some of you know it as opposite, op. Okay. And some of you know this as adjacent, and hypotenuse is hypotenuse. So you've got your Pythagoras theorem, base square plus perpendicular square equals hypotenuse squared. And then you've got your special trigonometric ratios. Now, what are those? The sine ratio, the cos ratio, and the tan ratio. They are ratios of lengths in a triangle. So sine of theta is a ratio of perpendicular over hypotenuse. So if I have, let's say, one length in my hypotenuse and my theta angle is 30 degrees, then the base, the perpendicular that I will have is half. Is going to be 1/2. If I have the same one and I increase the high angle in, like, make it steeper, I make it go to 60, the length, the perpendicular becomes under root 3/2. I know this, you're not supposed to remember this, but I'm telling you that this is what happens. So the sine 30 ratio, which is perpendicular over hypotenuse, is half when it's 30. When it's sine 60, it's the perpendicular is under root 3/2 over 1, which becomes under root 3/2. Okay, guys. So finally, I have my calculator today ready so that you can see. Now, this is mostly, a lot of you guys have this same calculator on you at home as well. So when I do sine 30, I get half. And when I do sine 60, in your calculator, you get under root 3/2. You press the ST button, you get 0.866. Acha, Ayat, do you use a similar calculator in America? Do you have the same calculator, or do you have some other calculator?
They use scientific calculators.
So scientific calculator की शक्ल मुझे तुम भेज सकते हो? Do you have like a physical one with you right now? Or is it
like this, kind of?
It is similar to this? ठीक हो गया.
Yes, sir.
All right. So chalo, ठीक है. So sine 30 ratio is under root 3/2. Okay, guys, and cos 30 is the ratio of base over hypotenuse, and tan theta is perpendicular over base. Some people have curly brown hair through proper brushing or so katoa. So it just depends on how you've remembered these, but the ratios are like this. If this angle is theta, the angle on top becomes 90 minus theta. So if I was to replace the perpendicular with instead of an alphabet X, the base with an alphabet Y, and the hypotenuse with the alphabet Z, then I would have said sine theta is X over Z, cos theta is Y over Z, and tan theta is X over Y. You would not disagree. I hope you wouldn't. The same sine ratio that I have, X over Z, is the same for cos of 90 minus theta. Why? Because when I take this as the angle, 90 minus theta is my angle, then cos of this angle is base over hypotenuse. So X over Z. So it's the same thing. Similarly, vice versa, the same thing holds true for cos theta. It will be equal to sine 90 minus theta. And when we talk about tan of 90 minus theta, it becomes y over x. You flip it. Because when you were taking theta as the main angle, the angle whose tan you wanted to find. The perpendicular was x and the base was y. When you switched the angles, the sides also switched. So you, instead of having x over y, you have y over x. So tan of, you could say tan theta is, and what's the relationship between the two? They're flipped. So it's one over the other. So guys, you have to commit this to your memory that sine theta is the same as cos 90 minus theta. You need to know this, guys, because there'll be this little fact can be used. Cos theta is the same as sine 90 minus theta. And tan of theta is the same as 1 upon tan of 90 minus theta. So these little facts, which we can test over here. Well, how about if I test it? Okay, so I'll test it here. So sine 30 is half. And based on what we said, we'd say cos of 60 will be half. So sine 30 and cos 60. Another way of looking at it is that if I say sine A is equal to cos B, then you would say A plus B is definitely 90. What am I on about? Sine of 60, that's under root 3 over 2. Cos of 30, that's also under root 3 over 2. Sine of 0, cos of 90, sine of any random angle, 15, cos of 90 minus 15. Same answer. So sine, the ratio of the sine angle, the whatever sine ratio of an angle is equal to cos ratio of the same angle if it's subtracted from 90 minus theta. So guys, ye remember karna aapne. It's a basic idea, basic concept, which you must remember. Why do we say they add up to 90? Well, I just gave you an example here that cos 30 is the same as cos 60. So when you add 30 and 60, you get 90. So when you add theta and 90 minus theta, you get 90. So you have to remember this, guys. So this is like the main rules are the ones that I've starred. This extra one at the bottom is not really a rule. It's a fact, which is because of the above rules. You may consider this as a rule. It will always be true. But, and it is something that I picked up from memory. This was a question on the SAT. Now, apart from these rules, we've got some others. These ones, people who've done some of them. Yeah, Ayat. This is, okay, good question. Now, Ayat, the thing about trigonometric ratios. अब आए तुमने इतनी important चीज पूछ ली है ना, so I need to go deeper. I will go deeper. Your question is basic. Does it hold true for units? Does it hold true for right angle triangle? This is what you said. Well, it holds true for right angle triangle for sure. Now, why does that happen? मैं why पे आ जाता हूं. So here you see a point. Now, if if I rotate this point around these axes, this is an XY plane. This region here is called the first quadrant. I label the stuff. This is called the first quadrant, guys. This is called the second quadrant. This is called the third quadrant. This is called the fourth quadrant. You measure the angle 0 to 90 to 180. So you measure angles in the clockwise, anti-clockwise direction as positive angles. You measure them from the positive x-axis. If you're measuring below the positive x-axis in a clockwise direction, the angles are negative. The triangle that you see at 30 degrees, and they've just said that the radius of the circle, they've used 2. अब ये 2 ना use करते, जरा कुछ और use कर लेते, तो हमारी जिंदगी. So they've used 2. I can reduce it to 1. Okay. नहीं, लेकिन वो zoom in नहीं करने देता. So I'll keep it at 2. Okay. So the hypotenuse as we speak is 2. The perpendicular is 1. When the angle is 30. So sine of 30 is 1 over 2. Sine is a trigonometric ratio of perpendicular over hypotenuse in a right angle triangle. Do you understand that? So the right angle triangle that 30 degrees will make, if you consider the perpendicular over the hypotenuse, the half will be the same for everything and anything. Do you get it? ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
ठीक हो गया, good. अच्छा, अब इसी तरह if I move the angle 30 से I make it go to 60. All right, so I'm going to make it go to 60. When it goes to 60, the perpendicular is under root 3 and the hypotenuse is 2. So under root 3 over 2 is sine 60. Notice they've given you some stuff in pi. So remember what pi's were. Pi was where your angle was in radians. The angle was radians. Now what is this? Is 0 angle. Pi is the same as 180. 3 pi by 2. Pi by 2 is the same as 90. I'll recall. 360 was 2 pi. Half 360, you got 180. It was pi. Half that you got 90. That was pi by 2. Half 90, you get 45. That was pi by 4. So notice this pi by 4 that they've written. It is the same as 45 degrees. So let's move it. Pi by 4. Check. So pi by 4 is 45. So I do under root 2 over 2. Let's have the calculator do it for us. Cos or sine. Sine of 45 is under root 2 over 2. Cos of 45 is also under root 2 over 2. Why does that happen? If I say 45, this is 90, the above angle is also 45. These two lengths are the same. So this is under root 2. This is also under root 2. The base and the perpendicular are the same because it's a right angled isosceles triangle when the angle is 45. So cos ratio, which is base over hypotenuse, and sine ratio, which is perpendicular over hypotenuse, they are the same values. Also, it matches the rule that we were writing. It matches this rule. That when you add them up, you get 90. Sine 45 is equal to cos 90 minus 45. So it's the same thing. तो कान को इधर से पकड़ो उधर से पकड़ो वाली कहानी हो गई. There's one little thing. Let's bring in the calculator. Let's take out tan of 45. Tan 45 is 1. It's a special number. Why is tan 45 1? Notice, tan 45 means perpendicular over base. Perpendicular and base are the same lengths. So under root 2 over under root 2 becomes 1. So tan 45 is 1. So as we move this ratio, this angle along, it goes on to the other axis. In the second quadrant, sorry, this is the second quadrant. So guys, this is the first quadrant. This is the second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant. Ayat, the sine ratio of a lot of you have done this. Like, and I think Khadija hasn't. Is Khadija here? Hello, Shabana. Welcome back. Long time. Khadija, yahan pe sine ratio is perpendicular over hypotenuse, right? So perpendicular is still going to be a positive value. There is a relationship between the sine of 60 and a sine of 120. Why is there a relationship? Because it is the diagram, the triangle that you get is somewhat symmetrical. How is it symmetrical? It has the same perpendicular. It has the same value perpendicular, but this is getting too deep into the logics and stuff. Sine of 60 is under root 3 over 2, and sine of 120 is also under root 3 over 2. Sine of 30 is half. Sine of 150 is also half. Sine of 45 is under root 2 over 2. And sine of 135 is also under root 2 over 2. Where am I coming up with these things from? So some of you've done this already in O-levels. In O-levels, you have seen that in when there's a straight line, the angles are supplementary. Means if there's angle theta, the other angle is 180 minus theta. So you know from O-levels that sine theta is the same as sine of 180 minus theta. It's a fact. I tried showing you the logic behind it, the symmetry rule, but I would really appreciate if you just remember this, that sine theta is the same as sine of 180 minus theta. We will eventually now see that the trigonometric ratios, they switch around as you move from one place to the other. Like when I say place, I mean when you move from one quadrant to the other. So if I say sine 30, that's half. I say sine 150, that's half. I say sine 210, that's negative half. I say sine 330, that's negative half. Why do I say stuff? Why? The reason why I took those specific numbers, the reason lies in this unit circle. Now, let's go back. Let's drag it back to 30. Notice the 30. I'll just make a cross. Then drag it forward to 150. I'll make a cross. Symmetrical, same perpendicular, same two blocks or same 1 unit height. Then, and this angle here was 30. The angle made here was 30. Same symmetry can be seen as we drag it down. Same at 30 over here, you've got the same vertical, same perpendicular. Drag it further down onto the other side. Over here, same vertical. This is 30 as well. So there's a relationship. The angles measured from the positive x-axis. So the angles measured, this one's 30 degrees. This one is 30 short of 180. This one is 30 exceeding 180. This one is 30 short of 360. So in short, the little note that you guys should make is, if you call this the critical angle or the basic angle, if the basic angle made is theta, and the basic angle is always made with the x-axis. If the basic angle is made as theta, so in the first quadrant, it gets you the angle theta. In the second quadrant, it represents the angle 180 minus theta. In the third quadrant, it represents the angle 180 plus theta. So in the fourth quadrant, it represents the angle 360 minus theta. So again, in short, theta, 180 minus theta, 180 plus theta, 360 minus theta. All these angles are related in such a way that their trigonometric ratios are also related. They're also linked. How are the trigonometric ratios linked? Let's have a look at that feature. How are we going to relate, let's say, sine 30? So sine, cos, tan of 30. 30 is an example. It could be any other angle. 180 minus 30. 180 plus 30. 360 minus 30. How do we relate this? This is half. This is under root 3 over 2. This is under root 2 over. No, this is 1 over under root 3, which is under root 3 over 3. In the second quadrant, you have the same half, the same under root 3 over 2, the same under root 3 over 3, but these two are negative. Only the sine is positive. Sine is positive here, sine is positive here. Cos is negative. Let's check as well. So cos of 30 was under root 3 over 2. Cos of 150 is also under root 3 over 2, but negative. Tan of 30 was under root 3 over 3, but tan of 150 is also under root 3 over 3, but negative. So you have to sort of memorize a very small mnemonic. ASTC, all science teachers crazy, all silver teacups, all trigonometric ratios of acute angles, of angles between 0 and 90 are all positive. Sine is positive, cos is positive, tan is positive. For obtuse angles, only sine is positive. So A, S, T, C. In the third quadrant, only tan ratio is positive. The sine and cos both are negative. In the fourth quadrant, only cos is positive. So you have to, guys, know this ASTC thing. So I'll just fill this small table up because we had started it. This is negative half, cos is negative under root 3 over 2, but tan is positive under root 3 over 3. Now, there are logics for all of these. There's, it's better if you remember stuff. Logic में the depth that we go to can just, I can lose a lot of few people and your concentration के अगर मैं logic देने शुरू हो जाऊँ कि why is this the case? There's a hint that it was all about that triangle that I showed over here. This triangle. So by going to the left side, the base is then becoming negative. So cos is negative because we went to the left side. We stayed in the left side, so cos stayed negative. Why did the tan become positive in the third quadrant? Because the x and the y both are negative. So minus over minus is plus. That is why tan became positive. That's one reason. And then in the fourth quadrant, your cos has become positive. Sine is negative. Cos is positive because it talks about the base. Base is on the right. That's why cos is positive. Sine is negative because it's below the x-axis. Nobody cares. Nobody's ever going to ask you on the exam कि भाई ये क्यों है और क्या nahi hai. ठीक है? So just don't worry about it. What you need to worry about is perhaps are these things, these relationships. What relationship? Tan with the A, with the S, with the T, with the C. With the A and the S, check this out. Sine theta is the same as sine 180 minus theta. What was 180 minus theta? It was the angle in the second quadrant. In the third quadrant, tan theta from the first quadrant is the same as tan 180 plus theta. It's a fact. In the fourth quadrant, cos theta from the first quadrant is equal to cos 360 minus theta. That was the angle in the fourth quadrant. So these three rules, one identity, second identity, third identity, and previously done, these three starred identities are important. These three are important. I'll put them in a box. These ones. You have to ensure that you remember them. You remember these as well. And then sine of theta, the relationship with sine of minus theta. Sine of minus theta is the same as minus sine theta. What does that mean? Well, it means if I say sine of minus 30, sine 30 is half. Sine of minus 30 is equal to minus sine of 30. So it is equal to minus sine of 30. I'll repeat this again. Sine theta is equal to minus sine theta. It's another fact that you need to know. Cos of minus theta is the same as cos theta. Another small fact that you need to know, because we're talking about minus theta. Minus theta is if you move in the opposite, in the clockwise direction, you move below the x-axis. If you go above the x-axis in the anti-clockwise direction, the angle trigonometric ratios are positive. If you go in the clockwise direction, then the angles considered are negative. So cos of minus theta is the same as cos theta. एक तो ये चीज हो गई, ये these two facts. Then tan का भी चलो मैं लिखवा देता हूं. Tan of minus theta is the same as minus tan theta. So tan is not different from sine. It's the same. Tan के लिए भी वही है जो sine के लिए था. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Now, going back to the Pythagoras theorem. From the Pythagoras theorem, we've extracted, I was tempted to show you the proof, but no need to show you the proof. Sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is equal to 1 is a rule. It's a fact. You are supposed to remember this. Now, what does this mean? It means if I say sine squared 20 plus cos squared 20 is equal to what? You'd say 1. Now, what in the world does sine squared 20 even mean? It means sine of 20 whole squared. Sine squared 30 plus cos squared 30 is equal to 1. If somebody said, no, sine squared y plus cos squared y, what would then happen? Well, it's equal to 1. As long as these two guys are the same, you're like, oh, no, no, no. What if it's working on y and x, or theta and theta? It might not work on 2x. So sine squared 2x plus cos squared 2x is not 2, but it's 1 as well. It's a fact. Now, let's go back to the calculator. In our calculator, let's plug in sine 30 and put a square on top. And then write plus cos, and let's put bracket first, cos 30, and then square that, pressed it, 1. We can try different angles. Like, what if we just try 3? Just 3, cos 3, and sine 3. Oh, it's also 1. So as long as these two numbers are the same, this will hold true. Another very important rule which you guys need to know: sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is equal to 1. The small manipulations that College Board can go on to do, they're small. They aren't many. They're pretty small manipulations. They might just keep sine square on one side and move the cos square on the other, thereby creating an identity. One square, you might say, oh, one did not have a square. Yes, you have to now memorize all these identities. That's why it is a tough topic. 1 minus cos plus 1 plus cos भी लिख सकते हो नाफे आप इसको. So it's sine squared theta. Or they might just say something else. They might just say cos squared theta को कॉमन ले लेते और 1 minus sine squared theta लिख लेते और 1 को 1 square कहते. क्यों कहते हैं? क्योंकि 1 का square करो तो वो 1 ही रहता. तो it doesn't make much of a difference. So it's, what identity are we using here, guys? A square minus B square is A minus B to A plus B. So that's like our cute, neat little identity. So 1 minus sine theta times 1 plus sine theta is what you would have. ठीक हो गया, guys? यहाँ तक clear है? So I hope यहाँ तक क्लैरिटी है कि साइन स्क्वायर यू लिख सकते हैं, कॉस स्क्वायर यू लिख सकते हैं. ओरिजिनल क्या है? साइन स्क्वायर प्लस कॉस स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू 1. There's only one identity. Good news, only one identity left. और वैसे जो A levels में आ रहे हैं, तो तुम लोगों का समझो कि ट्रिग्नोमेट्री का चैप्टर जो है ना, वो तकरीबन O levels वालों, मानूर एंड फातिमा, ये मतलब ये तुम्हारा समझो कि काफी सारा कवर हो ही गया. So there's one rule: tan theta. Tan theta was actually perpendicular over base. With a little bit of manipulation, by dividing the numerator denominator by the same value, you basically change the way tan looks. So there's a rule: tan theta is sine theta over cos theta. So that's the last identity that you were required to memorize. Tan theta is equal to sine theta over cos theta. Last identity, guys. इसके बाद और identities नहीं हैं. यही वाली identities की थोड़ी सी शक्ल बदल देंगे. What? किसकी शक्ल बदलनी है मैंने? Don't worry, किसी चीज की शक्ल नहीं बदलनी मैंने ज्यादा मुश्किल. Sine of theta equals sine of 180 minus theta. मैंने इसकी शक्ल बदलनी है. Sine theta is equal to cos 90 minus theta. मैंने इसकी शक्ल बदलनी है. Cos theta is equal to cos 360 minus theta. मैंने इसकी भी शक्ल बदलनी है. Really sorry about it, guys. Not sorry, but क्या कह सकते हैं, करना पड़ता है. 180 plus theta. So what shakal? What am I talking about? What am I on about? Well, sometimes it happens that the angles are not in degrees. The angles are in radians. When the angles are in radians, who will tell the calculator that the number you are entering is not to be considered as a degree? Because if I do sine of 360 and I do sine of 2 pi, 2 pi तो calculator को तो ऐसे लगेगा you're just putting in pi in it. So you're like putting in 3.142 like 6 degree something. So तो sin ratio देगा 6 degree के हिसाब से कि 6 degree होगा तो what's the perpendicular going to be? ये तो 2 pi is representative of 2 pi, the whole circle, the whole 2 pi. So the calculator being a dumb machine doesn't know. So you've got to tell the calculator, okay, hey, listen up. Press the shift, press the menu, go to the angle unit. Wahan pe choose the mode, radian. So I know from memory that 30 is pi by 6. 30 degrees is the same as pi by 6. So I put pi upon 6 and I get half when it's in radian. If it wasn't in radian, if it was in degree, I do sine pi by 6, it does not give me the same result. So I have to tell my calculator what kind of angle am I feeding it. So sine pi by 6 has to be radians. So when that is the case, guys, yahan pe jab radian exam mein radian type question hoga and stuff. So if this is theta, then this is sine pi minus theta. Why pi? Because 180 is the same as pi. Similarly, cos 90 is pi by 2. So sine theta is cos pi by 2 minus theta. Isi tarah cos theta is the same as cos 2 pi minus theta. Isi tarah tan theta is the same as tan pi plus theta. Acha, ab to summarize all of this, there's nothing extra, guys. Iske baad kuch bhi extra nahi hai. Main points, main features, these rules. Sine theta is cos 90 minus theta, vice versa. Tan ho to flip. Angle sum agar 90 hoga to sine और cos equal होंगे. अगर angle sum दो sines का 180 होगा, theta plus 180 minus theta अगर 180 होगा, दोनों sine का ratio same होगा. Yeah, that's like a neat trick. ASTC याद रखना है. All trigonometric ratios are positive in the first quadrant. Only sine trigonometric ratios are positive in the second quadrant. Only tan are positive in the third, and only cos are positive in the fourth. And all of them are related, provided the basic angle is the same. What's a basic angle? Basic angle is the angle made with the x-axis. So with a little, you could say a little test, 300 degree to 10 degree, 1 for 35, 1 for 135 degree, 225 degree, 315 degree. All right. So these are different examples of angles. I firstly want to be able to identify which quadrants these are in. So this is bigger than 270, fourth quadrant. This is bigger than 180, less than 270, third quadrant. 135, second quadrant, it's because it's less than 180. 225 is in the third quadrant. 315 is in the fourth quadrant. When the angle is 300, what's the angle, basic angle it makes? The basic angle it makes is 60. Where did I come up with this? Well, it is short of 60 from 360. 300 is 60 short. 315 similarly with the same, okay, not the same pattern. 210 ko dekhte hain. 210 is in the third quadrant, fine. How many degrees does it exceed 180? It exceeds 180 by 30 degrees. That's the basic angle. 135. 135 is in the second quadrant. How many more angles does it need for 180? What's the basic angle then going to be? So guys, it depends on which quadrant we are in. If we are in the second quadrant, we see how many angles are required to complete 180. If we are in the third quadrant, we see how many angles do we exceed 180. So in the second, we are looking at how many angles are required. If we are in the third quadrant, we're looking at how many angles exceed 180. If we're in the fourth quadrant, we're looking at how many angles are required to get to 360. So this is required for 180. And this is how many angles exceed 180 and how many angles are required for 360. So this 225, so 135 is 45 angle. Why? Because you need 45 degrees to complete to 180. 225 is also 45-degree angle. 315 is 45-degree angle. So you've got all these basic angles are acute. All these basic angles are acute. Acute means they fall here. They tell you where to look, or like they give you this trigonometric ratio, the basic trigonometric ratio, which you link with the rest. So मतलब ये मैंने तुम लोगों को थोड़ी सी logic बताई है. I seriously doubt you need a lot of logic. I've gone more in depth than was required. Lekin there's actually it wasn't a very easy job for me to stop withholding information क्योंकि कुछ doubt होते हैं. There's some gray areas as far as trigonometry is concerned. So we'll practice from Khan Academy trigonometry after doing these few questions from here. 198 from the College Panda book. Yeah, all right. अब देखो जो कुछ मैंने नहीं so it's the same stuff. Same stuff, same rule, same rule, same rule, same rule. And the quadrant rules and the special triangles we've already done. These I never talked about. Now, you do have the calculator with you, but tan 90. Oh, sorry. It's supposed to be a math error. It will be a math error when I bring back. What do we bring back? We bring back the degree and isko kya masla ho gaya? Shift menu angle unit 2 degree measure 1 tan 90. Math error undefined. Now what is a math error? Tan 90 is undefined, which is a math error. It means that it doesn't exist or there are other issues. So tan 90 is undefined. I don't want to go and show you what the graph of tan 90 is. You don't need it. So it's undefined. Sine 90 is 1, cos 90 is 0. Remember, tan was sine over cos. Whenever cos is going to be 0, so sine 90 is 1 and cos of 90 is 0. So anything divided by 0 is undefined. So in short, if I tell you cos of 270 is also 0. So then that means tan of 270 is undefined. So cos is 0. Cos of 90 is 0 and cos of 270 is 0. Sine 0, 0, cos 0 is 1, tan 0 is 0, 0 or 1 wali kahani hai. Sine pi by 2 is the same as 90. Tan pi by 2 is undefined because when you say pi by 2, you say radians. Anyways, let me get rid of this. Focus. All right, guys, I want you to try all these questions पहला वाला मैं चलो पहले खुद देखो. I think you guys can do these after having listened to this entire rant of mine. I think you're capable enough if you were listening in with concentration. Try it, please. So it says A, and he is right because it follows the same basic rule. You could have also checked with a calculator. So just don't go with what they're saying. The question can be constructed differently as well. Cos of 40 is A, sine of 50 will also be A because 40 plus 50 is 90. So they're the same. Question number 2. Tan x is 0.75. I will show you the both the ways. So someone might just say, you might say you can find out the angle first by taking tan inverse of 0.75. And then you can say, I can do cos of the answer and get the answer as 4/5. That's perfect. You can do that. I repeat this. Guys, this is something which you guys used to do back in the days, tan inverse of 0.75. That would get you the angle, and you would then use cos of the answer. Cos of the answer gets me 4/5. If somebody instead wrote this on their scratch paper, this entire thing, 36.869, and they're like, oh, I can get the same answer with cos 36.869. बिल्कुल परफेक्ट शबानो, बिल्कुल सही कह रही हो आप. 0.8, तो ये आपका आ सकता था. ठीक हो गया. फातिमा, 4/5. एक और तरीका गाइस, शबानो आप भी देख लो, अगर आता है ऑलरेडी तो बहुत ही अच्छी बात है. tan x is 0.75 is 3/4. Okay, so that means perpendicular is perhaps 3 when the base is 4, which makes the hypotenuse as 5. Special triangle. Cos x is a ratio 4/5. That's also what you could do. Question 3 kijiye guys. I'm very interested in 3. G Murtaza. Question 3. All right. Maybe ayat, maybe. Oh, no, maybe नहीं. You're right, ayat. You can do 5 ayat इतनी देर में जितनी देर में हम लोग कर रहे हैं 3. Good job, Shabana. Shabash. Okay. Where's Khadija? All right, Khadija, कीजिए. नाफे करो. मुस्तफ़ा. मुस्तफ़ा तुमसे तो हो जाएगा मेरे ख्याल में. Ryan, do it. How do we do 3? Okay, Khadija, I'll tell you. Khadija, remember the identities that we were talking about, these ones? there's obviously a lot to remember, or ekdam se to might be difficult. Sine theta is the same as cos 90 minus theta, and cos theta is the same as sine 90 minus theta. Keep that in mind. Cos 90 minus theta की जगह आप लिख सकते हो sin theta, और sin 90 minus theta की जगह लिख सकते हो आप cos theta. So how many sin thetas do you have? You have two of them. How many cos thetas do you have? You have two of them. D. That's one way of doing. There's another way. The other way is, Khadija, other way सीख लो, and Shabano, आप भी other way देख लो. Theta की जगह, if you were smart enough to think outside the box, this is like completely outside the box thinking. Theta की जगह you plug in 90, and you're like, yeah, I don't know anything about it, all these rules and stuff. If you were one of those who doesn't know anything, they're just going to throw in 90. Well, they were smart enough to do this, right? Okay, throw in 90. So by throwing in 90, they're like, okay, sine 90 plus, yeah, put the brackets, plus cos 0 plus cos 90. I know, Nafe. What's very easy, the formula or this thing? Sine 90 minus sine 0. You करते हैं, प्रेस करते हैं, 2 आंसर आता है, तो फिर इसके अंदर डाल देते हैं. उसमें मुसीबत ये होती है, sin 91 है तो b में भी 2 आ रहा है और d में भी 2 आ रहा है, वो फिर प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है. तो इतना फिर 0 डाल के चेक कर सकते हो. अगेन दो चीजें चेक करनी पड़ेंगी. 5 करते हैं गाइस. All right, Fatma. C. So you made a right angle triangle, Fatma, and you said if this is x, then tan x is m over 1. So that's m over 1. The hypotenuse is m1 square plus m square, which is whole under root, which is this thing. Sine is m over this thing. So m over 1 plus m square, which is c. Do you guys agree with what Fatma did? She made a right angle triangle. She labeled m. She labeled 1. Where did she come up with 1? She assumed that m is m over 1. फातिमा यही किया तुमने, और परपेंडिकुलर m लिखा, और ओके, गुड जॉब फातिमा. शबानो, ये हो गया आपसे? You're comfortable with this? Okay, good. All right, why don't you do 4 now? Question number 4, guys. $60. It's 60. Okay. Length 60. Okay, fine. So right angle triangle, C is 90. AB is 30. Cos A, this angle is 5 by 6. AC chahiye, which is AC over 30. So this is what you did, Ayat. 5 by 6 times 30. 6 5s are 5s are. Hey, 25. मेरे पास 25 आ रहा है. Did I make a mistake? देखो Ayat, it can never be bigger than the hypotenuse. Because C is 90, AB is 30. That makes AB the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is always the longest length. So AC has got to be less than 30. So you guys, you made a right angle triangle. You labeled the sides. They said cos A is 5/6. There's no need to go on and find angle A. Just do cos A is 5/6, fine, and take the ratio AC over. All right, do this now. ये वाला मैं नहीं बताऊंगा. So I was only helping to warm things up. G guys, please do question number 9. Ye last question hai, then math class will be over. I'll reshare the English link. Cos 32 equals sine 5m minus 12. Just for your information, this entire angle is, there's a like a bracket. So cos 32 is the same as 5m minus sine of 5m minus 12. When was cos and sine the same? What did you know about the angles? What did you know about them? When sine and cos are the same, what happens? What happens? Sine and cos are the same, what happens with the angle? You add up the angle and it should come out as 90. Yes, all right. So it says 9.9 का आंसर 2 है या 9.2 है. So 32 plus 5m minus 12 equals 90. 102. नहीं 32 minus 12 कितना होता है 20. 20 उधर गया 70. 5m equals 70. M equals 70 over. What is that? Did I make a mistake somewhere? What up, guys? What up? 32 minus 12 is 20. 20 उधर गया 70. हैं 8.8. 70 over 5, 8.8. What? मैं गलती कर रहा हूँ कोई? I don't know. I can't see my mistake. Can you guys point my mistake out? मुझे नहीं दिख रही अपनी mistake. मुझे तो 70 over 5 ही दिख रहा है. मैं क्या देख रहा हूँ तुम क्या देख रहे हो? What's happening? Guys, when you add these two angles up, क्योंकि sine और cos same है, the sum of these two angles is 90 degrees. That's what we said. 32 minus 12 होता है 20. 20 उधर जाता है minus होता है 70. 5 divide होता है उधर 70 over 5. Yeah. Is that 9.2? एक ने answer. Can you guys type in and take away the answers? G. All right, G. All right. So 70 over 5. Okay. All right, one last question and then math class is over. ये वाला question करेंगे. 11, 12, चलो 11, 12 दोनों कर लेते हैं. Yes, we will ना फिर बस इसके फौरन बाद. We will. बस ये क्वेश्चन क्योंकि ट्रिग्नोमेट्री इंपॉर्टेंट था ना ये क्वेश्चन. ये चलो ये आखिरी वाला क्वेश्चन कर लेते हैं. We won't do another. ये आखिरी करते हैं. So that's English wala normal class ही रहेगी, like 10:30 is what you should expect. Okay, for the class to go on to 10:30, 10:15, yeah, 10:15, 10:30, 10:15. Sure. So what do we have here? ये तुम्हारे पास AC है, AC1 है, 1. ये 1 है, ये 90 है, ये 90 है, 90. Diameter always makes 90. ठीक है. Area is AB half AB into BC. Now, if this AC is 1, AB is, if you do sine theta, you can do AB over 1. If you do cos theta, then you can do BC over 1. So sine theta, cos theta. So half sine theta, cos theta, D. You guys got this? Homework. Question number, this 12 is homework, or trigonometry from PWN is also homework. Whatever we skipped is homework. PWN se bhi do trigonometry from PWN. There's a lot of trigonometry in here with radians, mixed with radians, these wheel ones. ठीक है, do also the 3D geometry wale questions from PWN. It had some nice tricky ones. So get them done, guys. PWN se sara karna hai. ठीक है? So math class over. I'm sharing the English class ka link.